Hi, everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you so much for joining me today on my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. And today it's going to be a big topic. Before I dive in, be sure to like this video, share it out all over the place, leave me a comment, and tap that subscribe button, or you can smash it. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs, and every single click of that button truly helps me out. Thank you so much. Okay, diving right into the topic. So, we all know that the Writers Guild of America, so that's screenwriters who work on television, film, they went on strike a couple of months ago. They're still striking, you know, they despite making 30% more than an average American worker, they're complaining about things, which some of it is legitimate, like they're complaining about the pay they receive, their residuals that they receive for. The reason I did air quotes is whatever. It's just a word. Residuals coming from some of their older stuff. They're barely getting paid for it. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But then they put in like all these arbitrary stuff. They want more money. They want writers' rooms to have more writers, even when it doesn't require it. It's all a bunch of weird nonsense that makes no sense. And the communication broke down, they strike. Well, now the biggest actors union in the United States, at least, I think it's also international, which I don't know why the United States allows international unions. That should not be allowed. Foreign entities should not be representing American workers, and that should go for Hollywood as well, but neither here nor there. The Actors Guild, which is called SAG, Screen Actors Guild, and SAG-AFTRA. I don't know what AFTRA stands for, and I don't really give a crap. They are also going on strike, so they failed to reach negotiation. This is from Deadline. Contracts negotiations between SAG-AFTRA and the AMPTP broke off tonight, and the Guild's national board will meet Thursday morning to formally approve the launch of a strike. It will be the first actor strike against film and television industry since 1980, and the first time that actors and writers have been on strike at the same time since 1960, when Ronald Reagan was president of the Screen Actors Guild, back when he was a Democrat. Picketing is set to begin Friday morning, and then they have their little statement that they said after more from SAG. For more than 4 weeks of bargaining, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the entity that represents major studios and streamers including Amazon, Apple, Disney, NBC Universal, Netflix, Paramount, Sony, and Warner Brothers Discovery, remains unwilling to offer a fair deal on the key issues that are essential to SAG-AFTRA members. In the face of AMPTP's intransigence and delay tactics, SAG-AFTRA's negotiations committee voted unanimously to recommend to the National Board a strike of the producer SAG-AFTRA TV theatrical streaming contracts, which expired July 12th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. PT. SAG-AFTRA's National Board will vote Thursday morning on whether to strike. SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher, I was wondering where she went, said SAG-AFTRA negotiated in good faith and was eager to reach a deal that sufficiently addressed performer needs, but the AMPTP's response to the union's most important proposals have been insulting and disrespectful of our massive contributions to this industry. The companies have refused to meaningfully engage on some topics and on others completely stonewalled us until they do negotiate in good faith. We cannot begin to reach a deal. We have no choice but to move forward in unity and on behalf of our membership with a strike recommendation to our national board. The board will discuss the issue this morning and we will make a decision. So then they have like another statement from one of their peons. It says, so then the AMPTP responded, "We are deeply disappointed that SAG-AFTRA has decided to walk away with from our negotiations. This is the union's choice, not ours. And in doing so, it has dismissed our offer of historic pay and residual increases, substantially higher caps on pension and health contributions, audition protections, shortened series option periods, a groundbreaking AI proposal that protects actors' digital likenesses, and more. Rather than continuing to negotiate, SAG-AFTRA has put us on a course that will deepen the financial hardships for thousands who depend on the industry for their livelihood." Okay, so anyway, They did, in fact, vote to strike this morning. And it's this is so hilarious to me. So, yeah, they're all concerned about AI. That's a legitimate concern. But, AI is not to the point where it can create films yet. Like, we've all seen, like, the horror commercials that they've made for pizza and beer and other such nonsense. But, they're complaining about things like, besides AI, they're complaining about self taped auditions. Okay. Um, they're complaining about residuals. Okay. And again, if negotiate better with contracts. Like, this is why I'm not big on unions. I mean, I know that back in the day, umpteen years ago, that, workers were treated so poorly. That's a historical fact, fair enough. And so they formed unions to help negotiate. In the modern era, there's actual, labor laws that protect people. Unions are a relic of the past. And yes, I said it and I meant it. Especially if you look at government unions in particular, all they do is protect bad employees at the expense of the taxpayer. And in the case of this, now this is a private enterprise, and so if there are folks within this private industry that want to unionize, fine. But the fact that everything on Hollywood has to come to a screech is absolutely ridiculous. I'm pro scab. If you're not part of a union, if and you want to write, or if you want to act, do it. That's my opinion. And all that's going to happen is nothing. I guarantee it. Yeah, maybe they'll get a little bit of residual increase. Maybe they'll get some protections against AI, but things will just go back to the way they were. And as far as I'm concerned, watch it burn. Let Hollywood burn to the ground. And what's really funny is watching the studio's reaction to this. So Bob Iger, this is also from Deadline. I guess he did an interview with CNBC, and he says that that the guilds are not being very realistic, or he was asked if they're being realistic, and he said no, they're not. He talked about how that's their excuse for everything, right? COVID changed the industry. Yeah, because you morons, you could have stood up against this like you're supposed to, but you didn't. And he said we have to be open-minded and strategic about the future of those businesses. They may not be core to Disney. The creativity and content they create is core. They may not be core to the creativity and content they create is core to Disney, but the distribution model, the business model that forms the underpinning of that business and that has delivered great profits over the years is definitely broken. We have to call it like it is. That's part of the transformative work we are doing. Okay, so listen, if you're under the mistaken impression that because I think the writers and the actors going on strike is ridiculous, that I'm pro studio, could not be further from the truth. Listen, I am not pro any industry that moralizes to the public while participating in deplorable and disgusting behavior. Don't forget, Hollywood protected predators like Harvey Weinstein, like Jeffrey Epstein, politicians like the Clintons or Dianne Feinstein, corrupt to the core. They are in league with a media that protects criminals like Ezra Miller or Amber Heard, alleged criminals, or Alec Baldwin, who literally killed a person accidentally. That's just for emphasis for these weird commentators who don't like it when I use air quotes. Alec Baldwin literally killed a person, and he goes off gallivanting all over the country doing disastrous interviews. Oh, but the DA's not going to go after him. Don't you know how much money that the Hollywood machine paid for that? Because Alec Baldwin is who they want. Think about Leslie Headland, who was Harvey Weinstein's assistant. How does she become a showrunner at Disney? Yeah, I'm not interested in hearing whining about I want more money or I'm worried about a computer program replacing me. Where was Hollywood protecting workers when that was going on? Oh, sure, maybe a couple of filmmakers did a few one-off films complaining about automation. No, Hollywood bought into the automation. They made movies that make blue collar workers look silly and elites look smart. Think about, virtually every Woody Allen movie, right? It's always the smart intellectual guy who always gets, a suspiciously younger woman, right? It's like, these creeps, these deviants. Think about Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer was protected by Hollywood until he couldn't be. Yeah, that is the type that Hollywood seeks. They want weirdos and creeps, again, like Harvey Weinstein or Armie Hammer, because they are able to amass power, and they give that power to these directors, to these producers, to these studios. So no, I'm not crying that SAG or the WGA is going on strike. The worst that's going to happen is we're going to get a bunch of crummy reality TV shows. We're going to get some competition shows. We're going to get, more shows like American Idol. We're going to get a ton more of clones from that. We're going to get, shows like Renovation or, chef shows. Maybe, we're going to see more shows from across the pond. We're gonna see more British, Korean, and Japanese shows being brought to the United States. So as far as I'm concerned, let Hollywood burn. This is an industry that used their friends in the media to try to censor Sound of Freedom, an anti-human trafficking film. But instead, no, CNN, which is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, right? They they use their mouthpieces at CNN to bash the film, called it based on a conspiracy theory, smeared Jim Caviezel, the star of the film, for nothing. I am not interested in being lectured to. I'm not interested in worrying about, what a bunch of millionaires, people who make tons of money, just to go up and pretend to be someone else. I'm not worried about them going on strike. And like I said, I don't care about the studios. The studios are just as culpable, pushing out content that tries to rewrite history, that takes our beloved characters and deconstructs them or race swaps or gender swaps them. I'm not interested in worrying about what's going to happen. Let it burn. And let me tell you something. Independent studios, this is your time to shine. We're seeing it happen across the board. We're seeing places like the Daily Wire put out, my former my former employers. They're putting out films. My current employers, right? They're doing live action. They're doing satirical films. The Blaze, they're getting involved. They have Normal World, which is a sketch show and a comedy show. They released their first feature film. Daily Caller's putting out these incredible documentaries, and it doesn't have to be someone who's on the right side of the aisle. If you are a liberal or a progressive or however you identify who loves America and you just want to entertain people, this is your time to shine. Go around the Hollywood zeitgeist. Let it burn. Hollywood is an outdated, and I say Hollywood, and I also mean that for New York. you know, we're seeing everywhere actors are going to places like Texas. The entertainment industry in Atlanta is growing. People are going to Las Vegas to film movies and television. Nashville, even. This is your time to rise up. So do it. Go around SAG, go around the WGA. You don't need them. Shine, rise up. I put my money where my mouth is. I published 3 novels. You got they're right there in that corner. 2 of them are fantasy. One of them is an paranormal urban paranormal story. Check them out. The 7 Royals and Cacophony. They're on Amazon. Go buy them. We don't need them. Go around them. Fight. Win. We can do it. We don't need Hollywood anymore. We don't need the entertainment industry. We can forge our own. Let's do it, America. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment, tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time, right here on Studio Jake.